Listen, that parent thing starts kicking in because only thing your brain goes to is worst case scenario. Oh my God, he's gonna speed through it. He's gonna run a light. He's gonna do something silly. It's just that when we're driving with them, we know they got the hands on 10 and 2. They're obeying the laws. They come into a full and complete stop. But the moment they get a little homie in the car with them, that Camry turns into a Ferrari, and the foot drops to the floor because you got to see, can it peel? These are things that's going to happen. So only thing we just hope is that he's as lucky as we were, and didn't don't get caught up in the mess that we could have gotten.
Podcast Twins, back in the Twin Cave, Vince.
The Twin Cave is hot today, baby. How you doing, man?
Go tell them what to do, man.
All
do
right,
the thing.
so, we want to go ahead and get this out the way because we know what you want to do anyway is make sure you go ahead and click subscribe on the YouTube channel. Click the little bell icon so you get all the notifications on everything that we got going on. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Spotify, Threads. All of it. TikTok.
Instagram.
If I didn't say IG, my bad. And make sure you follow us on our website. Okay? Go to the website, check it out. It's going to be a lot of good stuff popping off on there.
PodcastTwins.com.
PodcastTwins.com. You can't beat that. So
very good, sir. All right. So we gotta talk. We gotta do something lighter and fun today because next week we're gonna ruin everybody's life again. So, I got a big announcement.
Tell me what's on your mind.
I got a big announcement.
Big announcement. That's what we start with.
Like you've got kids and grandkids, and
yeah.
It's all about the milestones, right? Like
right.
the big stuff that happens. Mm-hmm. And my son Nick is 16 now. He got his driver's license. And then he now has a 9-year-old Toyota Camry. So my son is driving.
Wait. You turn 16, you get your license, and you get a car in one fell swoop?
It was like a few days apart.
Days. Wow. That's a dramatic difference of how I came up, but I love it.
Well, there were caveats.
Okay.
Right? He has to keep his grades.
Okay.
He has to work. I told him he's got to get a job because insurance is expensive, and gas, even though it's come down, still ain't free.
No.
Oil changes and tires and stuff and knock on wood, it's a Camry, so hopefully it just keeps driving.
You're about 485,000 miles out of that.
It's only got 105.
Oh yeah, he's winning.
So, and it's the first night, Friday night.
Okay.
Right, last Friday, and of course, like it's a feeling I'm not used to, right?
Right.
Because I've been driving with him, my dad's been driving with him, his mom's been driving with him. Like he's good, and he's getting he's got his confidence. A year of driving with the learner's permit, but. Mm-hmm. It's hard to explain because I feel like I'm kind of a robot sometimes, but I felt that emotion of like, oh shoot, he's driving on his own now. But you got to balance that with the, hopefully I raised him right, and he's gonna make mistakes. Hopefully he learns from them. But making good decisions when he's out on his own now.
Good decisions.
So it's
16 and good decisions. That's kind of an oxymoron, but I like it. I like the thought. We keeping hope alive like Jesse Jackson right
Well, I know I'm biased because he's my son.
Right.
But, he's working at Publix.
Yeah.
He's got a dog sitting, cat sitting. He's sat for, like, pets of all kinds.
Wow.
And I asked him, hey, do you want to come to my networking group and stand up in front of 30 people and tell them you'll dog sit and cat sit and fish sit and, I think he's even watched snakes or something.
Wow.
I don't know how you watch a snake, but that's, I'll have to conversate with him about that on my own. But yeah, it's a big deal, and, he's out there driving now.
Jesus. So how did you feel the first time he left the house by himself?
I was confident but nervous and feeling a little uneasy.
Okay.
But, and it was more than I thought I would feel.
Absolutely. You better believe it's going to be more than you thought you'd feel. You thought, oh, I'm cool. No, you ain't. You ain't cool. Listen, that parent thing starts kicking in because only thing your brain goes to is worst case scenario. Oh my God, he's gonna speed through it. He's gonna run a light. He's gonna do something silly. it's just that, you know, when we're driving with them, we know they got their hands on 10 and 2. They're obeying the laws. They come into a full and complete stop. But the moment they get a little homie in the car with them, that Camry turns into a Ferrari, and the foot drops to the floor because you got to see, can it peel? You know, these are things that's going to happen. So only thing we just hope is that he's as lucky as we were, and don't get caught up in the mess that we could have gotten caught
I mean,
up
look,
in.
3 or 4 months after I got my first car, I think I was still 16, not quite 17.
Yeah.
I got T-boned in an intersection.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, fortunately, I drove a 1990 Honda Accord,
Okay.
and the thing was a tank.
Yeah.
And even though they bashed my door, the driver's side front driver's side door,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the crumple zone or whatever.
Right.
Kept the thing from really smashing my leg.
Good.
So it just kind of tapped me like that.
Wow.
And I walked. Now my car was messed up,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I walked away, and we fixed it, and it was fine. But I mean, I walked away without much of a, like, maybe a bump on my
Right.
thigh or whatever.
Hey, man, that's the first lesson I tell these kids and anybody, adults, because of what I do. The vehicle is a weapon.
Well, and
it could be a weapon of mass destruction.
And you know, wife is a nurse.
Yeah.
First responder as well, and she said the same thing because she's been in hospitals and she's seen, you know,
Yeah.
teenage kids. I mean, it's wild.
I've cut kids out of cars.
I thought we were supposed to do something lighter today.
No,
I think
it
we
is
went
like-
sideways
anyway,
here.
all right, so,
I think we went sideways
anyway,
here.
but that's
we're like,
my-
oh yeah, let's talk about my son driving
Yeah.
and his job and his entrepreneurial dog
Yeah.
business, and now we're cutting kids out of cars. We've gone wrong.
Okay.
All right. I don't know what
I'm
happened
sorry.
here.
That's a occupational hazard. Sorry. So, but that's the thought and the feelings that you have as a parent when they walk out the door. And, you know, and like my mom used to say, I mean, because my mom was already a night hawk anyway, but whatever my curfew was at that particular point in time, every time I pulled through the garage, and, you know, Chicago, we came through the through the alley and pulled in the garage, I could see the kitchen light would still be on. She's still up watching TV. Just because she couldn't go to sleep till I got home. And I didn't understand that as a kid. I'm like, Mom, you sitting up here, it's 1:30 in the morning. I'm fine. As you become a parent, you begin to understand, yeah, you may shut an eye, but you ain't sleep until you hear that door close and it locks.
But you know, you didn't have Life 360 and Find My Phone and all that other stuff, so it's a little bit of a different. Like, you didn't live it, but what's your take on, you know, on that?
Okay, so for kids,
They didn't exist when your
exist.
kids were driving.
Absolutely, did not exist. But they had regular cell phones. I mean, like the Razor. You know,
fair.
At the time when my kids were young, so they had to do the get to where you're going and call me. You know, that whole thing until I got extremely comfortable with them as drivers. But yeah, I needed a call immediately for where that was. Now with this Life 360 and all this other stuff, you're tracking them the whole time. You're literally watching them make a right-hand turn if you want to.
You certainly can do that or you can review the drive after, and you can review your own drive, right? So
I personally don't put it on my personal insurance, even though they talk about discounts. I'm like, you know what, keep that discount. But I think it's good that the kid knows that you have the ability to follow the speeds and all that kind of stuff and know where they are. But then at the same time, it's like, man, you know, it's a flip side because you also, they don't get that, they don't have any, I don't want to say freedom because they don't deserve it. They don't have any, it's that, hey, let me stop over here on the way home, you know, and, you know, it's going to be harder to creep and do the things that you wanted to do when you was a teenager, when you know you got the Life 360 on you or any other thing on you. It definitely changes the game.
Okay.
But for a parent, I would just like to know that I know where they are.
Fair. And you know, the funny thing is, I think back to when I was 16.
Right.
And I didn't want my parents to know anything.
Right.
I wanted,
Yeah.
I wanted my freedom, and I get so it's a balancing act, right? Like anything else. But I'm actually more excited about the dog sitting business.
Okay.
Because I like the fact that he's minding his own business while he's working for somebody else.
Okay.
Because Publix is not going to make him rich, right? Making $14 an hour working a grunt job, which there's nothing wrong with that. We all did it.
Yeah.
Everybody should do it.
Right.
I think it makes you a better person when you get kicked around.
Yeah. It makes you understand why you want to become an entrepreneur.
But exactly, and so but it's funny to watch him go through the motions that I feel like I've gone through in several businesses, just at a 16-year-old, high school brain. And
Kirk, what is that now? Is that Gen
Alpha?
Alpha? The 16
Nick.
At 16.
End of Gen Z.
There you go. Look it up for us.
End of Gen Z, beginning of Alpha, whatever.
Yeah.
But I like the work ethic aspect. He didn't get a job as quickly as I wanted him to at first.
Right.
But then now he's getting a little taste of that cash dog sitting money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Nick. So he tells me how much he's making, and I'm like, Nick, why are you charging 40% less than anybody and everybody else?
Right.
He goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, where'd you come up with your pricing?
Yeah, he didn't check the market.
He made it up out of thin air. And he's like, oh, well, I asked my mom, which I don't talk to her, so I don't know if that's true or not.
Right.
But he's like, oh, I asked my mom, and the first client's always a friend, and they're going out of town or whatever. Huh? He was born in 08. He's Gen Z.
So he is a Gen Zer.
All right.
Okay.
And then 2010 is Alpha or something? Okay.
All right.
So I got a Z and an Alpha.
Okay, there you go.
To be continued on Tessa. She's only 10. She's not driving yet. Thank God. So I told him, I'm like, look, man, we just practiced using ChatGPT. You can go on Rover or Wag and act like you're a client. And look at the pricing of all the different, services. Right. Walking the dogs, Rover. Taking care of cats. What's up with Rover?
No, I'm just laughing in my head like, man, as a non-pet owner, I'm like, it amazes me. But I understand because I'm watching my friends when we travel. They have to take their dog to the doggy hotel or to a service like this. So I'm just laughing at.
I have a barter arrangement on dog sitting.
There you go.
Right. So my buddy Rob, who's a headshot photographer, Rob Gordon, headshot photographer. He did my headshot. He's a friend of mine, and his dog's name is Zeus, monster bulldog, like huge English bulldog, and I got a little 20-pounder.
Okay.
But the dogs get along well.
Okay.
So it's like he started it. Rob was like, "Hey man, I really want to go to Tortuga with my wife for the weekend. Can you take Zeus for 3 days?" And I was like, "Can you take Max when I'm gone?"
Yeah, there you go.
I'm like, "Rob, you don't have to pay me. Let's just barter this thing out."
Barter it out. I like it.
So hopefully, I'm probably gonna have to pay him now because he's gonna pay Nick to sit Zeus next time.
That's a whole different ballgame.
We have to figure that out.
Yeah.
But so that was the first thing, and I said, look, I mean, you have tools and resources that I didn't have.
Yes.
And you probably don't know how to, like 16 and 17-year-olds, you hear they're building mega businesses on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, I see a lot of 16 and 17-year-olds playing Grand Theft Auto all day.
Yeah.
And, weighing 300 pounds and not moving and eating junk. And now I want to think that I want to think that's not the majority of them, but that may be too naive.
Yeah, that's very naive.
So.
Instead of the one fat kid we had in school, now you are the one lean kid in school.
But I told Nick, I said, these are things now that you've started to be successful and get a few more referrals and clients. You're and he's talking about, well, I have like too many to do one day, so I'm gonna have to hire my friend.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's perfect. That's how Rover and Wag make money, right? They're the friend that refers you, and they take a fee.
Right.
And I said, like, that's exactly how you have a business, right? Because if he's working and you're making $40 that day and you get to keep 15,
right?
You made 15, and all you did was say, hey, go there and take care of this dog.
Right.
Now then he gets into other problems of having reliable or unreliable employees, and
not only that,
stuff
but
like that.
He has to learn to do the automated system, meaning he's got to train them to do it the way he wants it done.
Right.
because like you can't buy a McDonald's franchise and just go off and do your own thing.
Yeah.
You better follow that thing to the T. If not, you're just gonna lose your franchise fee and the franchise. So, because at least that way he knows the standard of what his customers should expect because he's trained them. So now he's got to develop a training law. Oh, he's got to go in and be a full-fledged boss now. I like it. I like it. We're turning this kid into a hardcore boss.
He's doing, we can help and assist. You probably can assist better than I because we don't listen to our dads at 16.
Yeah.
But the whole idea is, what else should I be telling him other than, hey, you need to do some research, you need to have a plan, because I'm thinking back and it's like, man, it's been business after business after business. So,
well, I mean, he's 16. Is he having fun?
Yeah.
Okay. So is he still playing his basketball he was doing, right?
He's playing basketball,
Okay.
He's playing football.
Okay.
His grades are good. Like, I'm not complaining.
Hey, if the grades are there and he's having fun and he's still keeping his extracurricular, I think that's a mistake I made with my kids is that's all I required. I didn't make them work.
Okay.
And my youngest actually had a driving desire to work, and I was begging her not to, but she did because she got sick or whatever, and so I had to take her out of school and homeschool her. And this girl was opening up a Dunkin' Donuts, working from 6 to 12, right down the street, getting on a bicycle at 5:50 in the morning and go right down the street. Now, I was right behind her, most days. But yeah, she was running this man's business at 16 years old. And, but so she developed that work ethic in that regard. My other two, they did not have to work. I was just like do the training and all that kind of stuff. I went too sports heavy. Honestly, if I had to do it again, I would have been like, okay, work.
Be strong in each of the aspects.
And learn how to take that discipline and move into the workforce.
Well,
earlier.
Let's dive into that a little bit because when Walter was here, Walter Bond talking about the shark mindset, he said that your advice comes from your lens of experience. And that may be paraphrasing, but so what was the lens for you that said, you know what, you guys don't need jobs? Was it because you started working really early or what?
No, had nothing to do with that. I was, my kids were good. My oldest was a tennis player. She was very, very, very good.
So tennis was her job.
Tennis was her job.
Okay.
And her grades were good, but tennis was her job.
That's demanding.
And
playing.
It was hellified schedule, and to be, she started homeschooling at 9.
Yes, we talked about that.
And her schedule was tennis from 8 to 11. Home from 11 to 2, and then back to tennis from 3 to 6.
Wow.
Every day. And if she had lessons, private lessons, or if he had somebody he wanted her to hit with, she would stay to 12 or 1 and only have a little bit of break. And so that was a job in itself, and it was really detailed, and it required every ounce of focus. So because she was at that camp, my other two was there too, at the campsite. So they grew up playing sports like on a different intense level. And so by her being one of the tops in the state and moving through, we traveled a lot, playing these tournaments or just spending that amount of time.
It's hard to have a job when you're in a different city every weekend.
Right. And so we were really tennis parents at that point. And it got very tough, so to do that. So, but then my son, he played tennis, but not on the competitive level. But, he went into football and baseball. He was good. And again, I was like, look, let me train you guys to get at least college paid for. Because that was my thought process.
Okay.
I pushed them to try to allow the sport to pay for college,
like it did for you,
like it did for me, and and so that was my thought process. But like I said, I would have, in hindsight, had them at least go out and get a 10, 15 hour, 20-hour a week job as soon as 16 or 17 years old. I in hindsight,
Why?
just to create balance, and develop a different work ethic.
Okay.
And a different responsibility, because showing up for practice on time, that's great, and it's developing that too. But when you have to go and now you get a financial reward for this or that, and gives them that financial independence, a little bit of, okay, I want this, and now I could have then started teaching the game of money a lot earlier, because you can hear money, but it don't mean nothing to you until you show them, because they got money in their hand. So learning the lessons of money would have been a lot easier at that time. So that's why I said I would have instilled that actual work ethic early.
Okay.
Because then at 18, 19, when you're like, hey, you got to go get a job, it don't feel like, wow, why now? You know, what happened? I used to just ask you for stuff. Sound like I heard that before? Anyway, yeah, but you avoid all of that by instilling that work ethic early. So I 100% back up what you got going on, my brother.
I don't get everything right, but he did admit. And I'll reiterate this one time, just 'cause I know he's gonna listen to this episode because he's the topic of conversation at the beginning.
Right.
He he got to the point where he's just still trying to figure everything out. Right?
Okay.
Like 16 is that number.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And then things change. You get a car, you get a job, you get a different job, you get a girlfriend, you get whatever, new friends from a different activity or hobby or whatever. So it's gonna be interesting. They say it goes fast and you got to cherish it, and they're right. Because it goes fast.
It goes fast on both sides, as the parent and as the teen. Because as the teen, I'm telling you, I remember things vividly. And people are like, oh man, I wouldn't do that again. Man, I'd do it all over again, even if I did it exactly the same way. I had a great life as a teen.
Vince's guardian angel worked very diligently to keep him alive and out of bad situations.
Yes. I mean, look, that part, but man, I had an absolute blast. I was like, man, I'd go all the way back and do elementary school. I had a great life. So, listen, I enjoyed life as a kid. And that's, now again, I worked, but I wasn't, so my dad had a business, so we were in dry cleaning. So Saturday mornings, from the time you can remember, you were at work as a little kid, whether you grabbing clothes so that became a part of your ethic, whether you wanted it to or not. So we worked, but as you got older, they started being like, okay, well, your aunt needs a day off, or she's got to go do this. So now you got to get out of school and go. So for me, the only difference between myself and my siblings had to do it. So there was a certain times where they couldn't even play a sport because they had to be there to assist in whatever they had going on, because the business was so early. But being the super baby, born so much later than them, the business was able to sustain at that point. So by the time I got there, it was able to work around my schedule. So in the off season, after football was done, between football and baseball, I worked after school. I'd say probably 40 to 50% of the time. So, and again, that meant I had to get from there to there on time, because you got to relieve somebody, So that work ethic, and even all of my nieces, nephews, and cousins, everybody that came through the business, always say that was the beginning of learning that work ethic.
So where's the disconnect between, you're 53, I'm 43, Nick is 16, and there's a gap in between, of course, but what is the disconnect that Nick is the exception to the stereotype? Like, why are... you're showing me your cell phone.
This thing, yeah.
But because it killed grunt kid jobs, or...
He has the power of the internet to help him to do things different. So when we were teenagers, you walked in McDonald's, who was the workers?
Kids.
All kids. Go right up the street to this Burger King right now. 35, 40-year-old people working in here. Those are not starter jobs no more.
I mean, I'll drive by it and look inside the Burger King, but I'm not going in.
I'm saying, so even back 10 years ago, when my son was working at a McDonald's, 10 years ago, he was working at a McDonald's, and he came home, and he was like, "Dad, I'm the youngest one there," and I'm like, "Yeah, these people," he was like, they're working 2 and 3 jobs. And I'm like, "Son, this is the deal. These people are supporting families at a McDonald's, partly at a McDonald's salary. They're leaving here, going to work somewhere else, They're hustling because whatever life situations took them that way. But hey, they got to do what they got to do. It's no longer just a teenager's job." And at that point, he was 17 years old, about to graduate, and figuring out that, hey man, life is hard. Or 18, I think he was when he got that job. But life is hard, and you make it hard by what you don't prepare for. So, and that's what I think the difference is now these kids are watching Instagram and they're watching all these other platforms on their cell phone, and these kids are saying, "I'm making this and I'm making that." We're not verifying this. We're just looking at this perceived life that they're putting it out there.
But
some of them are.
That's been going on for 30 years.
Yeah,
though.
but it's not been in your
new.
face. It's not been in your pocket to be in your face at the moment you open your phone. I mean, even some of these other influencers are renting these houses, renting these cars because it makes the status look good. And hey man, look, if you see it enough, you'll help me get there. And so that's what they're doing. And so unfortunately, if you are a influenced easy youngster that thinks that all I got to do is this, then it pushes you into that easy world that you consider easy.
But then what do you have to do differently as a parent? What do you have to do differently in order to make sure that doesn't happen?
Boom. What we do early is exactly what you're doing. Is letting them get out there, get his feet dirty, finding out what the working for someone else looks like versus working for yourself. Because it is a difference. You can call out on somebody else. You can't call out on yourself.
Yeah.
And so that little bit of difference, along with what I think is the biggest issue, is when he gets that money, what's he doing with it? I think the fact that we need to teach money early as possible, teach saving, investing, delayed gratification, because when you're looking at these guys on Instagram, it don't look like they have any delayed gratification. They driving Lamborghinis at 19 years old, so you don't want that. You want them to understand delayed gratification, because that way you can let compound interest be the best 2 words in the English language. So he's got a great start because he's working for someone, working for himself. Now we got to teach him that component of letting that money work for him, because one thing you can't beat is time. Time wins every time.
That is already in the works.
And
but we'll talk about that later.
And that's where we at, man. That's where we at. So I love the fact that the kid is out there. I didn't get a car like given to me. So the way it worked in my world was, you got 16. You've been driving with your dad for 2-3 years already. You can drive. And it's like, I'm going to make you come and ask me for the car every single time, because that's that dad control factor. And so that's how I came up. So,
okay.
And then it was, "Dad, can I use the car to go to the movies?" You hear that silence? That's what I used to hear. He would just be silent. And then you standing there for felt like an hour. Then he'd finally say, "Go see if your mother needs something from the store first." and the movie starts. I got to go pick up. So you got to go run these things. So it was an earned thing like that. And then eventually what he did was bought another car, but tried to sell this one. So he put the for sale signs in this one. I take the for sale signs out because I'm like, hey, if you sell it, what am I going to drive? So I literally would take the for sale signs out of the 1977 pink Cadillac Seville with a sunroof top, baby. I was the man out there. Chicago,
Okay.
Y'all remember that vehicle.
You need that convertible in the snow, obviously.
No, but no,
sure.
no, just a
I'm
sunroof. Just a sunroof, baby. Sunroof top with the maroon interior. Oh, man, come on, man. But anyway.
I got to see pictures of this.
I kept that car through high school.
I'm picturing you driving that with a giant afro. Is that accurate, or is that just in my head? That was AI.
That is 100% in your AI.
That was AI. Yeah. Okay. All right.
100%. I did have a ducktail though. I had my tail
Okay.
running down
All
my
right.
back.
Another unique way of doing things.
Come on, man. It was the 80s, bro. I had asymmetrical box haircut. Come on, man. It was a high top fade era. Anyway, that's where we was at, man.
I had slick back hair.
I can see that.
Pat Riley style,
I can see that, you know.
Pat Riley style.
The munjas, you know, we're going to eat that, you know. Hey, what are you doing here? But anyway, no, I like what you got going on.
Well, send us some pro tips. If you're in a similar situation or you had some experience with us, what's your best advice on either driving and or entrepreneurship for the young ones?
Yeah.
And let's have a conversation about it. But let's get up on out of here, man.
What are you doing with your household? You know, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are? Y'all remember that commercial? Mm-hmm. Anyway, we're going to get out of here. But before we do, I want to just thank everybody once again. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, man. Follow us, man. It don't take you about 3 seconds. Just click that subscribe button, click the bell icon, and don't forget to check us on every other platform, including our website, thepodcasttwins.com.
And if you're interested in sponsoring us, just keep bringing us bags of cash. It'll be fine. We'll make sure the word gets out of your company.
The sponsorship is actually available, and so we are glad to talk with anybody. Hit us up. Matter of fact, leave the comments about what he said. Let us know what you're doing with your kids, grandkids. Are you doing it the way you were raised? Are you doing it a little bit different? Are you adjusting to the times? Let us know in the comments, and we're going to get on out of here, man. It's time to eat.
Yeah, time to eat. Have a good one. We're going to go carnivore it up, and we will see you next week from the Twin Cave. Podcast Twins out.
Peace.